Welcome to the Misfits podcast. I'm your host, Ben Cotton.
Cotton is in the fabric?
No, cotton as in the state.
Today we have a special episode for you. Following the tragedy of Romeo, Juliet, Mercutio, and Tybalt's deaths, we will be interviewing Lords Montague and Capulet.
Before we start any interviews, what is your opinion on whose fault it is?
I think the deaths are mostly due to the inept parenting of Lords Montague and Capulet.
Yes, I agree. Today we can ask them what first started their feud and how many years ago it was.
Let's get right into the news! First, we have Lord Capulet. Welcome to the podcast.
Happy to be here.
So, do you believe you raised your daughter well?
Yeah, I believe I was a good father to the best of my ability.
Even with the raging feud between you and the Montagues?
Honestly, we didn't incorporate the feud into the relationship between Juliet and I.
So you believe that your relationship with the Montagues had no effect on your daughter?
I mean, that's pretty obvious. I mean, she hooked up with a Montague, so, she didn't obviously have any problem with him.
Didn't they try and hide their marriage and their relationship from you because of the feud?
What? Did they do that? Wait, they got married?
Yeah, sorry to break the news to you. Anyway, they hid their secret marriage from everyone except for Friar Lawrence because of the fact that if you found out, things would have ended and not gone well. Were you aware of this?
I was not. However, I see where they were coming from. At the time, we would have acted irresponsibly. You see, a lot has happened between our two families since the tragedy. We have been hit with the cold, hard reality that this feud needs to stop, and it is up to us to mend our broken relationship.
One more question. What do you think caused the feud between you and the Montagues? When did it start?
It was long ago, right here in Verona. You see, what happened was Lord Montague stole my crustless peanut butter and jelly sandwich when we were in kindergarten.
Don't you think that's a little childish?
That was my favorite kind of sandwich!
Okay, let's take Our next guest is Lord Montague.
Howdy.
Do you believe that you had a good influence on your son?
Of course. He was a fine young man. He didn't get into any trouble.
With the death of your son and the death of Juliet, did that change anything between the feud and your families?
Yes, the relationship between the Capulets and our family has gotten much better because I feel that it was our family's feud that brought death to our children, Tybalt and Mercutio.
Yo, that's what we said!
Hey, my son is dead. Watch yourself.
Sorry. Anyway, what do you think would happen that led to the feud between your families?
It was kindergarten. My family was very poor. Capulet, on the other hand, was rich and fat. One day, that pig was on his third sandwich and I didn't think he needed it. I simply took it, and he couldn't chase me.
Well, okay. On that note, let's move on. You heard it here. Many deaths were the results of the everlasting feud between the Montague and the Capulet family.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode on the recent tragic deaths in Verona.
Be sure to tune in next week for a special episode of how Aquaman drowned and dies.